right, JT&Dre Show live edition. Hope everyone's doing well. Brother JT, how you feeling?
Man, amazing, man. How things your way?
Doing well, doing well. Happy birthday to you. Coming
Appreciate it.
live and direct. So where we at now? 26?
Man, I wish, man. 35.
35. Shout out to 35.
Yeah, 35, man. God been good. Made my first million at 29. And man, now at 35, still going up.
I love it. So how do you feel about your progress in life? Are you happy with it? Do you think you could have done better? Do you think you are overachieving? Do you think you're right on the target?
Nah, to be honest with you, underachieving, man. What I love about Atlanta is when I go to places like Atlanta and Miami, you realize that there's always somebody working harder than you. So I was comparing myself to my peers. My peers are military veterans that now work in DC or here and there, right? So if you make 150 grand or $200,000 a year as a federal employee, you killing it. And I was doing much better than them. So I was like, oh yeah, man, I'm doing great. And then I go to Atlanta and I see people that's like, man, they bills are $1 million a month. Their business does $3 to $5 million a year. And it's beyond even my imagination. So it's not impossible to do, but it's like I never even thought about trying to build a business that big. So that's why, man, I think I'm gonna start coming to Atlanta at least 6 times a year. If they ever start, well, I'm sure they sell condos somewhere. I might even buy a condo and just Airbnb it when I'm not there, just to have a spot down there, right, man? Because Atlanta's where the dogs at. So for sure. But I would say this though, that man, a lot of people out there, they don't know what's possible for them because they're comparing themselves to people that are not where you're trying to go. All right. So I would say instead of comparing yourself to who you graduated high school with or whoever you talking to on the phone or messaging on social media, right? How well are you doing compared to other people in your industry that are trying to do it to the best of their abilities?
Comparison. It can help you and it can hurt you.
Facts.
You have to. So I'm a believer in appreciating where you're at, but realizing that there's more. But when your viewpoint is limited because you haven't been around people doing certain things, you only know what you can see, and that's detrimental. Then you get around some people doing, like you said, $250 a month.
Yeah.
On a slow month, you're like, oh, there's a world I haven't tapped into. Then you realize, shout out to my man Will Rivera. Maybe I can even play that clip. My man Will Rivera. And you realize, yo, they aren't even as smart as me. So I'm losing.
I met Will at Funnel Hacking Live, man. Will, a very dope dude, man.
Oh, you met Will at the Funnel Hacking Live? Yeah,
he's one of the Funnel Hacking Live events. He was there. Yep.
He's real though. Let me try to share this. Let me know if it's playing, JT, in a second. And I saw this clip and I said, well, I'm gonna use this.
All right.
Very small difference.
Can you hear it?
This,
yep.
Okay.
This and having this. And it's not intelligence, it's not connections, and it's not even education. Someone 100 times dumber than you is 100 times richer than you right now because they don't overthink every single move. They don't need 3 months of research to start. They just go and they figure it out while they're in motion. One of my favorite quotes is commit first and figure out the rest later. And that's
Will is 2,000 million% correct because I am that guy. The C&D student who's made over $1 million in business because I don't think much. Thinking is your enemy. You think it's your friend, it's your enemy. This isn't school, it's business. Here goes some proof. All right, here we have it here. One of my online platforms. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I think what it is, though, is that's how the average person is conditioned, but 100% that's what holds them back. So in school, if you make a mistake, they'll give you a letter grade that is supposed to reflect your level of intelligence, right? But like I tell people all the time, if you make somebody study something they have no interest in, or they don't understand how it positively impacts their lives, of course they're going to underperform, right? So if we were to force somebody, I'm from the South, I know Dre is in the South, but he's from New York, right? So if my great grandmother made everybody take Chitlins 101 class, right? If you're not interested in chitlins, then you probably would fail the class. They would give you an F, but see, life will say, okay, the F student, that's an unintelligent man or woman, right? But in all actuality, you wasn't interested in that, or you didn't understand how this information could positively impact your life. So grades really don't reflect somebody's level of intelligence. And for the people that do make great grades, what I've seen a lot of people that did phenomenally well in academics in high school and college, now in life, they're wondering why they're not overachieving in life like they were in school, and they get depressed. They start overthinking stuff, and now they're scared to make a mistake, right? Us C and D students, we got used to making mistakes. That's just part of the game. So if we make a mistake, it's just another day. But that A student that has never been criticized for making a mistake or underachieving, they never built up that skill of how to deal with rejection, pushback, trolling, whatever you want to call it when it happens.
The ability to deal with rejection. Smart people have a hard time dealing with it, because if it wasn't an A, either their own critique on themselves or maybe their parents, oh my God, how did you get a B? How did you get a C? And that's kind of our normal life. So we're used to it. But when a smart person, air quotes, is going through this stuff, they're like, damn, my life is over. We're like, man, my life's just getting started, bro. I'm used to this. The ability not to think, the ability to think as you go along, the ability to pivot and adjust, the ability to have fluid thoughts. Once people can embrace these steps, it's a whole different life. Whole different life. You forget about the nose, JT.
Oh, yeah. And being fully transparent to put somebody, just to make it practical, to put it in real perspective. If I think about it, I think I've only been right 4 times out of like 30 businesses. So if you got 4 questions right on a test with 30 questions, you definitely failed that test. But as a millionaire, like, man, I've only been right 4 times. I was right with the independent courier business. I was right with e-commerce. I was right with media. I was right with real estate, right? Everything else, the other 26 things I tried, not saying they don't work, but they didn't work for me. I failed horribly at them. But how many people you get 26 questions wrong, you say, you know what, I'm not even going to participate anymore.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out a way to help subsidize some costs for an event. And I asked 7 people, 3 people said yes. I have a great friend who was doing events. I think he might have asked 2 or 3 people. He was doing them for a while, and he didn't get the outcome he wanted, and he stopped asking. You just forget about the no's. I'm telling you. And it's such a freeing life when you just have that philosophy. Like, I'm just going to rock. I'm going to keep it rocking. And when you realize that you a millionaire, let's just say you make over $20,000 a month, maybe under 200, I don't know, somewhere in that range. And you realize, oh shoot, like he's only been right 4 times, and he's been doing $1 million plus since 29. 6, 7, 8 properties, daycare center. He might have been 2, 3 times that he owns. It's just a different life, and it's way more freeing.
Can I tell you guys watching how to make the rejections feel softer? Now, of course, at scale, the more you do it, it'll start, it's water on a duck's back. It don't bother you at all. But in the beginning, like, man, it's very stressful. So I would say, man, make sure whatever you're asking that person, yes is the right answer. So what I mean by that is this, is like, okay, if I'm trying to sell anything, right? If I'm trying to sell glasses, right? And these are, I don't know, these 3D glasses from when my daughter went to the movies with me and she just leave her stuff everywhere, right? Okay, but let's assume these were just prescription glasses, right? If you don't have a visual impairment like me and Dre that wear glasses all the time, right? It doesn't matter if these glasses are $1, $10, $100, $1,000. You don't need them, so we can't sell you prescription glasses if you don't need them, right? Whereas I have extremely bad vision, right? So I would spend, like these frames that I'm wearing now, I spent $600 on them and didn't think twice about getting them, right? So think about your product, and I know everybody sells something different, but I want you to remember this analogy and don't get hung up on the product, right? So whatever you're selling, only offer it to people that need / strongly want it. So when they tell you no, right? If Dre needs glasses to drive and he doesn't have any glasses, and you say, hey, Dre, I'll sell you these glasses for $75, and he say, heck no, I'm not giving you $75 for glasses, that's okay, because Dre really needed to say yes and give you $75, right? The issue is a lot of you all start businesses and you don't want to do the boring part of business. You don't want to do any market research. You don't want to see what the target audience is. So you don't know if it's the right answer, if they should say yes or no to your clothing line, yes or no to your restaurant, yes or no to your workout plan, yes or no to your course, yes or no to your notary business, right? So if you don't know whether them saying yes or no is the right answer, right? Of course, every time you hear no, you're thinking like, ah, man, like I'm a bad person, right? No, sometimes no is them making the wrong decision. So everything that I create, whether it's a board game, a card game, a piece of social media content, invest in real estate and offer that on Airbnb, right? I try to design every digital or physical product that I have that to the ideal person, the right answer is yes. So if they do say no, it's a mistake, right? My Airbnbs, what we do, and I'm not trying to act like I'm a real estate expert, but what we do is we go find the best ranked hotel in the city and we match their prices when I'm doing a brand new Airbnb. Now, of course, you can raise the prices higher after you get reviews and whatever. But when we first launch a new Airbnb, I find what's the best reviewed hotel in a reasonable distance of that house, and we price it at the exact same way, right? So would you rather spend, just for easy math, $100 a night to have a room with a refrigerator and a TV, or you can get a new house fully furnished, it's gonna have amenities in the refrigerator, right? And I stole this from the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons stock your refrigerator and then charge you for everything in there, right? I'm gonna go to Sam's Club, buy it in bulk, and I'm gonna stock the refrigerator with some water, some soda, some whatever for absolutely free, and just mark it up a little bit more on the nightly rate, and it's gonna cover it that way. So if somebody ever says no to my Airbnb, it's the wrong answer. Does that make sense? You could have got a room with a refrigerator and a TV, or you can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a fully stocked refrigerator we're not going to charge you anything, no matter how many beverages you drink, spill, or take home with you, right? And we can do that with everything. Physical products, digital products, services, right? So start doing that with your business. One, you're going to get less no's. And when you do get a no, it's like, okay, cool, right? You should have said yes. But if you're not able to see why this is such a great deal right now, that ain't on me.
Income generating activities, money making activities,
For sure.
Generating activities.
Yep.
What are 3 to 5 that you're working on today?
Yep. Number one is marketing. So one thing that I'm intentional about learning is YouTube ads. I know you guys hear a lot about like Meta ads, Facebook, Instagram ads, but I've been on YouTube, and I know a lot of other great people like Dre and others have been on YouTube for a while, but at least speaking about myself personally, right? I haven't seen a lot of us great creators master the paid side of it. So we know how to organically create content, get an audience, get ad revenue. But guess what? The person that's providing our ad revenue check they're not just giving us donations because they love us. They're selling a product, a service, information, or whatever on the other side, and they're making more money than what they're paying, or else they wouldn't be doing it. So marketing, right? I heard this quote recently, and I don't want to butcher it, right? But they was like, visibility is more important than ability. Visibility is more important than ability. There's somebody out there that can't cook as good as you, but their food trailer got a line wrapped around the corner and you begging people to buy your plates. There's somebody that's not as fashionable as you, but every time they do a restock and a drop, they sell out of their whole inventory and your stuff looks better, but you begging people to buy from you. So visibility is more important than ability. So I think that the number one thing that every business must master is how to get visibility from your ideal buyers, right? Ooh. So that'll be the number one thing that I'll say, right? Second thing is you gotta have systems, right? So systems run your business. You shouldn't run your business. Every single morning, I do at least 30 minutes with my team, right? So the market opens at 9:30 to 10. I'm looking at the stock market, win or lose. I don't care what happens in the stock market after 10 o'clock. 10 to 10:30 is my team meetings, right? And then if it's a Monday, I'm gonna be on here with Dre, right? If it's any other day other than a Monday, what I do is that I allow people to schedule appointments with me, whether it is business partners, mentees, whatever it is, right? That is what happens in my morning, right? Prior to 9 a.m., that's workout time. And if we have some availability later in the day, that's workout time because I want to prioritize my health. So systems run your business, right? That's how you avoid getting burnt out. That's how you avoid a lot of the problems that cause most businesses to fail. So you got to have a system that can run your business without you being involved. So while I'm sitting here having a conversation with Dre, I got 14 YouTube videos that are already edited. All I got to do is start uploading them, right? I got a ad specialist that's coming to me telling me, hey, this is the problem that we're having. This is the recommended solution, and we want to move forward on it, right? I got a personal assistant that's working on my newsletter right now and saying, hey, look, these are our sales objections that we've been having so far, and our goal this week is to generate this much money off of our email newsletter, and I'm going to keep you updated as to our open rate, our click-through rate, and our sales based off of that, right? So imagine if all of that stuff could happen while you're having a conversation with your friend. So because at the same time I'm talking to Dre, YouTube videos are getting edited, right? We're solving problems to figure out how we can generate more traffic and more sales through our ads, right? And I got somebody working on copywriting to generate more money out of our email list as well. The third thing, though, is you got to have a team if you haven't picked up on that, right? So if I develop a winning system, it works whether JT does it, Dre does it, homeless person off the street does it, Filipino worker for $2 an hour does it, right? So the team member can change. Maybe I'm the primary team member as a solopreneur in the beginning, but then at scale, I get burnt out. I'm ready to expand. Now, by having that system, right, I manage the team runs the system kicks out the results, right? So those are the three things I would say. Visibility over ability. Of course, you want to be the best in the world at what you do, but if you can't get in front of the right buyers, you're never going to make the money that you should, right? So visibility over ability, right? That's where you should spend most of your time once you get your skill. All right. Next, you got to have a system. If you went on vacation today for 30 days, if you come back and it would be like starting your business completely over from scratch, then you have holes in your system. Right. And then you got to have a competent team that can run the system as well. So that way your business can run without you. Right. At this point in my media company, I'm just an overpaid actor. And then the more we learned about AI, I'm going to eventually not even be a real actor. Right. As soon as we can make an AI version of me that looks just like this version of me. Right. I'm going to be completely behind the scenes cranking out content.
Income generating activity. So I have to fire a client. That's important. And for transparency, I have no problem firing a client because one of two things. One, they're annoying, right? which isn't all the time, but it's usually one of these two things. One, they're just annoying and they're not worth it. Or two, they've displayed that they don't really want to own a business. Mm-hmm. Now, recently I did it with somebody who I actually like. I actually like him. I think he's a really great guy, and he spends money. Mm-hmm. So someone said, well, Dre, you're getting paid anyway. There's something, JT, if I have to meet with you and you aren't doing what we went over, it kind of kills the joy. Mm-hmm. It kind of brings you down, kills the excitement, and I feel like I'm not utilizing all of what I have. Yep. And when we don't utilize our minds, I believe we get dull. Yep. I believe we get dull, and something we lose our edge. So I said, hey, look, I don't want you to buy anything else. Based on our results, because I use Google Docs, JT. I use Google Docs. Okay, this is what we said. This is the goals. These are the dates. Of course, there's some gray in there. Most people don't follow through exactly. But if you're not doing anything, I'm out. And he got mad at me, which people often do, which I'm okay with. But I don't feel comfortable taking your money if you aren't displaying a level of follow through. I just don't feel comfortable. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? What would you do?
No. I don't think you're wrong at all. I think, like, to me, without even knowing the details of the situation, right, I don't even think that you charged him enough, right? So whatever he paid, it wasn't enough for him to lock in and pay attention and take action. So I would have just upped the prices for that program once the term is over, of course, right? Yeah. So what a lot of people don't understand that aren't in the business that we're in of transforming lives is that it's one thing to tell a kid what to do, and a kid has a certain level of respect for an adult just because you're an adult. Once that person becomes an adult themselves, is you can't talk to me like that. I'm this, I'm that. And that's actually true, right? So how do you make an adult that you have no power, no influence over, do something that they need to be that they need to do anyway for their own benefit, right? So you gotta help them change their subconscious mind, and their subconscious mind changes through the actions that they take, right? Ooh. So for example, if this person was comfortable spending $300 a month to work with you, but they wasn't taking any action, right? That means that at $300 a month, you're still the same person that you were before. You're still not an action taker. At what price point, this is not the only trigger, but this is the primary trigger, because this is the first thing they got to do, because the transformation is going to happen in the transaction, right? Instead of $300 a month, right? Now it's $1,500 a quarter. Right. So you pay me $1,500 a quarter. I'm going to give you action items. You got to report back. And until you do step one, you don't even unlock step two. So now, are you going to pay $1,500 for one step when you paid to get the whole blueprint? Right. Not if you're an action taker. So now you spent more money, and you're in an environment where I got to do this before I can do that. Right. And the reason why that's important is because a lot of people think if you just give me one more tactic, right, one more tactic, I will be just fine, right? So here's proof that one more tactic doesn't work, right? AI is coming out now with something called SDRs, and I'll have to look up what the acronym means again, but basically what an SDR is, it's an AI agent that will go out and start pestering or hitting up people that are your ideal customers. You could target people on LinkedIn or wherever you want to do it, and SDRs will go out. They'll go find clients, have sales conversations, and try to attract those people into buying customers, right? So whatever it is that you sell, AI now makes it where, okay, you don't got to run ads. You don't got to post organically. You just feed the beast and tell us who to go hit up. And then on behalf of your page, we'll go out and we'll cold DM people that based off of the people that follow you, that like your posts, or by whatever parameters, depending on what SDR you use, right? So that being said, you no longer have the excuse of not knowing how to go get customers. You can literally Google, what is an AI SDR? How does it work in my business, right? So boom, now you got a way that you can go out and figure out how this works. But I guarantee you by next week, this time, there's still going to be people that's going to be like, I don't know how to get any customers, right? Mm-hmm. Or there's going to be somebody that says, I don't know what to sell, right? You can get the free version of ChatGPT and type in, what's the number one consumable of people just like you. So what's the number one consumable of African American men aged 35 to 45 in this region, in the Southeast region? And it's going to kick out a list of different products. Pick one and sell it, right? But then you're going to say, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Well, what do you like? I don't know. Well, okay. Well, until you know what you like, sell what people are buying, and then use the money that you make to sell whatever it is that you like in the future. But it doesn't make sense to say, I'm going to do nothing because I don't know what to do, right? In no other area of life was that acceptable, right? When you were in school, you couldn't just say, well, I don't know multiplication, so I'm not going to do any multiplication, right? I'm not going to take the test, not going to take the quiz, not going to do the homework, because if you did, you were going to get held back and eventually you're going to get processed out of the system, right? And if you were raised by parents like me, right, they're going to put some fire to you when you get home too for not listening to the teacher and trying to do your work, right? So, man, we just got to understand that all of this is learnable, man. Like, what's super hard about it is a lot of people feel like making money is hard because they've never been exposed to an environment where they see how money really works. So most people expect it to take 2 weeks and 80 hours to make a check. You work full time, 40 hours a week. You pay every 2 weeks. So most people are like, it takes 80 hours, right? And a lot of work, right? 80 hours, 2 weeks, a lot of hard work. And then you make whatever your paycheck is every 2 weeks, right? But what if you could make that same money in a day? Now people are like, that's illegal, that's illegitimate, that's a scam, you're just trying to take my money. Well, no. What if I could take the value that you did in 80 hours and was able to deliver it in instantaneously, right? So if, let's say that it took 30 days to build a house, right? What if I could get a team of Elon Musk robots that's willing to work 24/7 around the clock, right? And they're able to build the house in 24 hours instead of 24 days. Is the house worth less? No. So if the house was going to sell for $400,000, whether I finished it in a day or in 30 days, right? We have to learn how can we do that as well in our business. That's why I'm big on telling people you should not sell commodities. You should not sell something that we could just compete on price and determine if yours is better or not, right? So I like to sell things that are transformative, specifically how it transforms people's financial situation, and just tell them my true story. Hey, I'm a country boy from the Carolinas that decided one day I'm not going to wait 30 years to pay off my house. I'm not going to wait 40 years to retire to enjoy life, right? So I decided to become an entrepreneur. I ran into a roadblock where I was only making money either when I was doing a sales transaction or I was providing the services of my business. And the problem with that is that I'm still making money like an employee. My time is still tied to it. So I had to figure out a way to start making money independent of my time. How do you do that? That's by having products in your business. That's by being able to deliver results without it taking 40 hours a week, 80 hours a pay period before I get a check, right? And that's why I think it's really important. And this is for the 40 and older crowd, right? Reason why I say that is because usually the people that hit me up that are 40 and older, they always say in so many words the same thing. I don't want to start over, right? So I don't want to start over. I've been working in my career for this many years. So I'm already making $85,000 a year or whatever. I don't want to start off making less than that. Okay, well, you got to consider buying a business, right? Or you're going to invest way more than the average startup person, right? So if Dre builds your notary business up and gets it profitable to $85,000 a year, Dre, how much would you sell a notary business to somebody for if they wanted to be making $85,000 a year the day they take it over?
100, 200.
Yeah. So, yep. So, hey, boom. And that's a great price, right? I'm 200 grand. I'm making the business is already kicking out 85 grand a year, right? So, hey, and Dre is doing that plus everything else Dre has to do in his life. What if all you doing is focused on that notary business? So now you're able to put more time in it, more marketing dollars in it, more whatever in it, right? And now he gave it to you at 85 grand. You might take it to 100 grand, 150 grand or more.
Bingo.
Yep.
I want to share this with you, JT.
Yep.
Tell me what you think about this. This is from Threads. You ever go on Threads?
Yep.
Guy says, working in finance gives me access to some pretty wealthy people, and not a single one of them sells online courses.
Yep.
You know what's interesting about this?
Mm-hmm.
People always love to poke at people like us. Let me go back to what I said.
Yep.
I said, count the StreamYard. All right. People would rather you sell crack than sell information. They paid for college. He did. He has a finance degree, or somebody paid for college, but not a person who created their own mini learning platform. Ego is wild.
Yeah.
JT, am I wrong? Was I rude? My problem is this, and I think people have an issue. Some people have an issue with paying a person. So I actually have a business. I show my numbers. Let's just say I made $1 million in business, right? Most people have never done that. Most professors who teach finance, business, macroeconomics have never made $1 million in business. Their praise as a professor, people like us get slander. Again, not from everybody, but for some people. What's wrong with people?
Right. I think it's such a new way to make money, because that gentleman could have said, I work with a whole lot of wealthy people. None of them own yachts. That could have been true too. Right. So he doesn't work with everybody that makes money. Nobody does. So there's nothing wrong with selling courses at all. Can you pull it up on the screen again? Because it was one other thing he said that sparked an idea as well. Right. So matter of fact, I got it right. So we'll go to Walmart, right? And just a fictitious example, because everybody knows what Walmart is, right? Nobody ever walks in Walmart and say, hey, the Walton family is billionaires. Why y'all still selling fruit? Why y'all still selling toilet paper? Why y'all still selling oil? Why y'all still selling clothes and shoes and all of this other stuff, right? So like we don't try to negatively impact any other business except ours, right? How many people go to McDonald's and be like, hey man, even though Ray Kroc is no longer alive, but whoever is the owners of the institution now, they don't say, oh man, y'all make billions of dollars selling this food that some people consider not to be real food. You know what? Y'all should stop selling burgers and fries, right? Nobody ever says that, right? If you're going to not like the business, don't patronize the business. You don't got to go to Walmart. You don't got to go to McDonald's, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't make a whole lot of money if you created a business that was just as good as McDonald's, a business that was just as good as Walmart, or if you selling information, right? Here's what I think a lot of people don't understand, and I'm privileged to this information, not because I'm better than anybody else, but I worked with some schools in the past, and the reason why they reached out to me was because they said that in high school, they started doing like surveys to see what percentage of the graduating class wanted to go to the military, college, or just, join the workforce. They just want to collect that data so they can monitor it and just, just use it for whatever purposes that the city or the county wanted to use it for, right? And they said that while college was still the number one thing that most people wanted to do after high school, right? They had a other box and people started putting in podcaster, YouTuber, streamer, gamer, right? So they said now, number one thing is college. Secondly, people wanted to know how to make money online, right? And I think, this is just my opinion, within the next 10 to 15 years, we'll see that more people will want to know how to make their own money than go to college, right? Reason being is because I'm 35, but I got some classmates of mine that they started having kids younger, not knocking nobody. They got kids that are grown now, 18 years old, right? So there's a lot of, I forgot what that generation is called, but there's a lot of younger folks that they've seen mama, daddy, auntie, uncle, they went to college under the promise that if you go to college, you get this degree, you'll make $100,000 a year or more. And now you see mama, daddy, uncle, auntie with student loan debt, not making a whole lot of money. Arguably, if they would have joined the workforce and worked their way up, instead of them going to college, getting the degree, and still having to start at an entry-level position and work their way up, they will be making the same money now, if not more, right? So now they looking at it as like, man, that's a scam. Right now, are there certain valid degrees out there in the medical field, in the legal field, in the skilled trades and engineering and etc.? Yes, but for the average person, right? For the average person, the data says if you don't go to college for STEM, you will make more money if you just join the military.
Yeah.
Right. Like it just stayed in there. Yeah.
I have a friend who just got out the army about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He got his, is it called the GI Bill money pension?
Yep. For school. Yep.
Well, he's going to go back to school and he's getting disability.
Yep.
So the disability is $3,800 ish a month for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He's younger than you, so I think it's 34. He did 10 years in the army.
Mm-hmm.
He's got $3,800 for the rest of his life, plus the $1,200 for now that he's going back to school. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's much better gigs for the time period and for the long-term benefits. The VA mortgages, which are no money down, right, JT?
Yep.
Which you can use them multiple times, I heard. I was like, yo, it's crazy.
My brother he's 7 years younger than me. What does that put him at? Like 29, 28, something. Mm-hmm. He's still in his 20s. And I have more real estate than my brother, but his houses are bigger than mine, right? So he owns 2 houses. He not gonna watch this episode, so I'm gonna tell on him too. He still stay at home with my mom, and he got 2 huge houses. He getting paid like $2-3 grand a month each house, and he got the same thing. Right, get $3,800 a month for his VA disability, and gets another $5-6 grand a month from his real estate. And you know how the babies are of the family, so my mom will still wash his clothes, iron it, do all of that. So. Like until he find a girlfriend that'll do it, this joker is still at my mom's house with 2 huge houses, and like, yeah, like, you know, she don't mind I'm here, I'm helping her out. Cool. Like
yeah, that's what it is. What's your social life like, JT? Do you have like a best friend?
Yeah, man. Like I got several best friends, man. Like, so I got some of my like childhood best friends that I talk to a lot, and I got some entrepreneurial best friends that make a lot of money as well too, right? So, but before I go deeper, right, is there a follow-up question? I ain't know.
No, that was it.
Okay, all right, yeah. So what I will say about my friends, though, just going a little bit deeper, is that I do communicate more with my highly successful friends than my struggle bus friends, right? If you got some friends that the economy is always bad, the politicians, just for example, Donald Trump is the president now. Donald Trump is ruining America, right? And all they got is negativity and woe is me. And man, I'm one step away from stripping or scamming, right? I don't talk to them on a regular basis, right? Yeah. So my birthday recently passed. I hollered at them then, thanked them for, you know, hollering at me for my birthday. But on a regular basis, right, I want to talk to people that are doing $100K a month consistently, $1 million a month consistently or better, because these are the milestones that my company is close to, and we want to make sure that we exceed it and stay at that level consistently.
Media. Yep. So let's go back a second. I agree with you. So I think college is over, bro. Yep. I think 18 to 36 months, the enrollment rates are going to go down 20+%. I think colleges are going to need to combine, because it's a outdated, broken business model. And now you can literally go to school in the fall, which is coming up, August, September, graduate in 4 years, have great grades, and the thing you went to school for is going to be gone. We are in wild times, and parents, especially Black parents, have huge egos. You can't tell a black parent anything, or most parents in general.
Yeah. But we know why though.
What do you think of this?
Yeah, so well, I'm gonna speak for the Southern people, right? So my great grandmother, who I never met, but I heard stories of, she was a slave, and she was the first generation of my family to not be a slave, right? So my grandmother, right? My grandmother was a sharecropper, so never really owned too much of nothing, and worked the land for other people in exchange for food, little money here and there, right? My great grandmother was just teaching the next generation, don't be slaves. My grandmother's generation, that was the first generation that saw the difference between ownership and just working somebody else's land that you'll never own. So my grandmother taught my mother's generation, don't work in the field, right? So when the industrial age came and everybody could work in a plant, work in a factory, right? So my mother and a lot of people of my mother's age, right, are around it. They will go find factory jobs, plant jobs, right? Because they were told that, hey, look, don't go outside and work in the elements. It's a little bit of money. It's a lot of wear and tear on your body. Go get a factory job. Well, what did my mom's generation teach us growing up? Well, from my mom's vantage point, the managers in the office didn't do any work. It was everybody on the line that did all of the real work, and the managers, they went to college, and now that they got a college degree, you can now work in the office, and they don't do nothing because my mother's a senior citizen now. So they didn't think you sitting down in front of a computer all day was work. They think you on the line, right? Like, so I'm still in an area where they got an old Converse factory. I go to church with women that say they used to sew together the Converse shoes. So they thought it was real work. They're like, oh man, I'm doing the real work. I'm down here sewing, and you know, people getting injured because a needle went through such and such finger today because they in these big industrial things. Oh, the managers, all they do is walk the line, talk to you a little bit. Then they go close the office door. They think they in there sleeping. They don't know they're running reports, inventory, ordering materials. So that generation taught us, go to college, so that way you don't have to work as hard as me, and you can get paid more money than me in the factory, right? Our generation, right, the millennial generation is what I'm up to now, right? So baby boomers taught their kids go to college so that way you can make more money not working as hard as us. Us millennials went to college, went and applied for a job, and was told we needed more experience, right? So I tell people I did everything mama and grandma told you to do. I joined the United States Marine Corps right at the high school at 17 years old. When I got out of the United States Marine Corps after 4 years of honorable service, I went to Charleston Southern University down in Charleston, South Carolina, right? After that, I went to grad school at the University of Maryland in College Park, Maryland, right? So, and I got my my master's degree, right? So I went to the military, I went to undergrad, I went to grad school, I worked in corporate America for Berkshire Hathaway, which is the late Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett's company, right? And I was doing well, right? When I was in the Marines, I did well as a Marine. When I was in corporate America, got employee of the month, the first month there. I got an 18-month guarantee before I quit the job, meaning that I was going to have my own branch in Greenville, South Carolina. They was going to move me from Maryland because I was working in corporate America while I was in grad school. They were going to move me from Maryland back to where I'm from, Greenville, South Carolina, right? And give me my own branch to run down there as they expanded the company. And I left all of that for entrepreneurship because I understood that what mom, dad, grandma said was best for me, right? Not that they were wrong. They gave me the best information that they had, but life changed, right? There used to be a point in time where mama, grandmama, granddaddy, daddy, they could just go work a regular job, and in 10 to 15 years, they could pay off their house, right? My generation, 10 to 15 years, we happy to be done paying the interest and now working towards the principal. Yes, they got 15-year mortgages, but still the average person is getting that 30-year mortgage so that way they can get a payment that's low enough for them to feel confident they'll be able to pay it no matter what. And if they pay it off early, they pay it off early without penalty if they set it up the right way, right? So, man, that being said, the reason why we can't tell black parents nothing is I think that we're the first generation where we say, okay, I'm not just going to accept what mama, daddy, grandma, granddad said, I'm going to figure out the right answer for myself. And I don't think traditionally they did that because they didn't have the internet, right? If I had to sum it up, right? My grandma, I don't think my grandma ever got on the internet her entire life till she passed away. Like my mom, like she own it, but she own it watching like videos and stuff. Like she's not paying her bill. My mama still got a checkbook. So like she not paying bills online. She not doing any transactions. She on Facebook telling my baby cousins and my young nieces, stop dancing like that on Facebook and why you wasn't in church Sunday. That's the extent of her using the internet. Like she don't understand the internet as a tool that can make her an unlimited amount of money, nor is she interested in it like that.
Sales is self-esteem. Pricing is self-esteem. If you find yourself struggling to charge a fair price, what you think you can, we see other people doing, you have a self-esteem issue. Who do you see struggle with this more, men or women? I think women have a harder time charging their worth because I think women have a harder time dealing with rejection. They're not used to it like in real life like that. Men, we're used to it because even if you're a handsome fellow like JT, you're still going to be told no, right? You're not going to, every woman you like isn't going to like you back. And what I see with my woman coaching clients is, oh, I don't know, let me play it safe. I don't want to ruffle feathers. And men have the issue too, but more with women. Who do you see have the issue more? With price?
I would agree too. If the choices were just men and women, I would definitely say that just how little boys are raised up to be tough, like like that they are conditioned earlier on in life to you know, how do you deal with failure? How do you deal with rejection, whether it's in sports or whatever, right? But I would say if we broaden it up, people from low income environments, they take it the worst out of everybody, regardless of race, gender, religion, anything like that. Because I don't think that they understand how many no's the rich people got. So when you don't have a reference point, your imagination just fills in the gaps. So you might see somebody in a Lamborghini and assume that the very first business they ever started made them tens of millions of dollars, and to celebrate they bought that Lamborghini, right? You might not know that, okay, this person decided they were going to be an entrepreneur at 17 or 18 when they graduated high school. That person is now 42 years old, still young, but they went through the trenches, right, for a couple of decades there to try to figure out how to be a successful business owner. And now they got a system. Now they got a product. Now they got things that are flowing in that's making them real money. And I think that what we got to start doing is, if you want what somebody else has, assuming they made it legally, ethically, and morally, we got to be willing to do the research, right? I know, just being transparent, somebody might say this is thinking too small. I know that mentally, from speaking to my friends that make $3 to $5 million a month, I am not mentally prepared to make $3 to $5 million a month. And until I'm prepared to make $3 to $5 million a month, I will never make it, because God ain't gonna put more on us than we can bear. So like, I know right now, right, okay, this is my capacity. And yes, it's a privilege to be able to know people on a higher level than me, but guess what? What they're willing to do, right? Everybody would say, oh, I definitely would be making, like, if I had the opportunity, somebody showed me how to make $3 to $5 million a month, I would do it, right? Okay, until they tell you, hey, well, right at the level you're at right now, we're going to figure out some tier financing that you're approved for, and you're going to spend $300,000 to $400,000 of borrowed money to grow, scale, and market your business. And you can be like, hold on, wait, right? What if this don't work? Hey, do you want to make $3 to $5 million a month or not? Right. So this is what it takes. So we got the institutions, or we can get your business in position where you qualify to work with these institutions. But even when I gave you the opportunity, hey, who's willing to borrow $400,000 at a 37% interest rate and invest the whole thing in their business. Because that money not cheap. If you a new business, if you a small business, right, they taking a humongous risk on you, so they taxing. So who gonna take a 30+% interest rate on 400 grand and then have somebody say you got to spend it all?
Wow.
In product creation, marketing, funnel building, team, everything, right? In order to potentially make your first $1 million month. And then once you make your first $1 million month, pay off that 400,000 and whatever that you borrowed, right? Now spend another 500,000 out of the money that you had left over, right? And let's run the play again on a bigger scale. Right, most people don't even have the stomach to do business at that level. They thinking, okay, incrementally one day through word of mouth or just sheer luck, right, I'm gonna come into possession of $3 to $5 million a month. No, the people that make the most money take the most risk and the biggest risk.
You're cooking. I'm gonna share this, JT. Then we can wrap it up, and it goes back to what we were just saying.
Bro, Dre know everybody, bro. I see Dave there from the Philly cheesesteak restaurant.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, cool brother. He has 30 restaurants coming up. He was at the Melanin and Money Award show, which was dope, by the way. Got my man Bruce there. You know my man Bruce, he's a sales expert. Yeah, man, a lot of cool people up here. This is one of the channel sponsors, my man Anthony of the Ticket Plus. Shout out to Anthony of the Ticket Plus. So he sells tickets online. And he's made a few $1 million doing so over the past few years. Great brother as well. All right, so this goes back to sales and self-esteem.
The number one fear that's blocking people from making more money on a subconscious level, deep down below, is we don't believe that we're worthy of whatever that number is. We don't believe that we're worthy of whatever that monetary amount is hitting our bank account. We may say, oh, I can make this, but that seems like a lot. There's no difference. You go show that same number to an animal's not going to look at that number any differently than that number. But we have these subconscious beliefs that's maybe been passed down from our parents, society, our culture, our religion. And we start to self-sabotage ourselves because we don't believe that we're worthy of that. So now we'll look at our actions. Our actions will say one thing, but internally we say something completely different. Oh, I want to make this and I want to do that. Yeah, but how come your actions don't match that? That's because below the surface, there's a version of you who doesn't even believe it's worthy of that number. So this is why it's so important for you to do the inner work. When I do the inner work, I increase my income. And if I increase my income, I will produce outcome. That's actually what you're chasing after. You're not chasing the income. You are chasing the outcome, but you can't get the outcome without the income.
All right.
Yep. What are your thoughts on physical products versus digital products, Dre?
I like both. So I like the duality, and there are certain things I like differently about them. So with a digital product, so for digital product, is it pre-recorded or is it live digital? Which one are you referring to, or both?
Say it again. Oh, you talking about the digital products?
Yeah, is it like a pre-recorded?
Yeah, I would say both. Like, yeah, whether it's a course or ebook or some kind of pre-recorded thing.
I like digital products.
Yep.
I think they're imperative. If you have the skill set, you should have them. Physical products, I think those are dope too. Physical services, I think those are dope as well. So just exact duality, had a notary job the other day, paid $225, right? $225.
Mm-hmm.
I was there 15 minutes out, done. It was in the suburbs of Atlanta. It was done deal. $225. That job is done. Hopefully they call me again for more work, but that's it. Now, con of the digital business, pre-recorded, not pre-recorded, live or whatever. And again, and it's very much the minority, but it happens. Mm-hmm. I can't log in. Okay, let me help you out. Where's my login? I paid all this money. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to help you. They bought it 5 years ago. They paid $200, and now they're a headache.
Yeah.
With the service base or physical business, as you say, once the job is done, it's done. I'm going to hear from you only when you need me again. Now, positive from the physical, from the digital business, you have somebody who didn't believe in themselves. They spent $500. They've been struggling with business for 4 years. They finally start rocking with you. Now they're making $500 a week. They're making actually $2,000 a month to pay their rent, their mortgage. They have a whole different vision, a whole different life, whole different belief system now because they rock with you. So the high of the digital coaching business is higher. The emotional high is higher than the service-based business.
Mm-hmm.
The downside of the coaching business is lower than the service-based business. So it's dualities. I enjoy the mix, but for everybody we know, or damn, let me air quotes, damn everybody we know, most of the people who are doing $500,000 to $2 million a month, you can just scale so much faster and reach so much more people with a digital business, with a digital offer.
For sure.
So the scalability is insane.
Yep. I think that physical products are easier to sell for a newbie because I think sometimes digital products are like more philosophical if you don't know how to explain transformation.
Yeah.
So if somebody is saying, you know, buy my ebook for $100 or buy my my wireless microphone set for $100, people will be like, okay, I can imagine the utility of, you know, having some microphones that I could clip on to me and clip them onto my phone, my camera, and now I got quality audio. Why would I give you $100 for a ebook where I can go get that same ebook for $2 to $3? So I do think that eventually you gotta learn how to do your digital products and scale them up. I got $200 ebooks that we sell. Matter of fact, yesterday I sold 2 ebooks for $300. But what I tell everybody is that we got to stop judging things by what they perceive them to be. Now, they being the uninformed buyer. So let me explain this even better, right? So if you can condense down how to make $1 million in business, Dre, into an ebook, is the ebook worth less just because you condense down your value into an ebook? The answer is no. It's still $1 million worth of value, $1 million transformation, but just for our convenience, Dre may have been able to condense that down to an ebook, an audio book for people that are too busy to flip through the ebook. Ebook might be, you know, 100, 200, 300 pages, depending on how in depth he wanted to go into it. And you like, I don't really got enough time to read 300 pages, but I can listen to a 3-hour recording, you know, throughout the day. So just because it's packaged in an ebook doesn't mean that that's the value. Just like if somebody was to show you a shoebox, we don't know if you should buy that shoebox for $1, $100, or $1 million. Now, if they open it up and it's a fresh pair of Nikes in there, might be worth $100 to $200, just depending on what it is, right? If they open it up and it's solid gold bars, right, that's might be $1 million box they holding right there, depending on the size and the quality of it, right? All right. So I want you all to understand is that when you're selling digital products, don't just say this is an ebook, this is a course, this is, you know, X amount of training modules, because nobody cares, right? I don't even care, and I've been selling them for years. What transformation am I going to get? If I'm somebody that has no money, will I know how to have 50 to 100 grand worth of business funding after this? If I'm somebody with no business, will I have a business up and running if I do this by the end? I tell everybody the way that you consume my digital products is when you learn a new principle, go do that principle. Stop reading, go do that. Then come back, read some more or view some more if it's a video, right? Then go do that. I don't care if a 45-minute read takes you 4 days. By the time you finish the book, you got the result you wanted. Whether that was funding, whether that was a business, whether that was money coming in, right? Because what a lot of people do is they'll go through all of the information. You don't remember what it was said in the beginning, and usually the beginning was the foundation. So all you remember was the last few things that you heard, and you trying to do that with no foundation and now wonder why it doesn't work. So we tell people, hey, do watch module 1 or read chapter 1, go do chapter 1 stuff. right? So now you got a foundation. So when you get to chapter 10, right, you already got everything else built. So now it's the finishing touches on it, right? What good is you knowing, how to retarget somebody and you don't have a product to sell, right? You don't even know how to initially get traffic in the beginning. So teaching you a retargeting campaign is super important and super profitable. But if you don't know the basics, a retargeting campaign ain't gonna serve you at all.
Oof. Great game, JT. Everybody follow JT. Link will be below in the description. JT, have a great week, brother. Let's get all money coming in a positive manner, and let's change a bunch of lives. See you soon.
Yes, sir.